Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I've decided to have yet another look at some video game history, and in the process answer the question, what exactly made Silent Hunter 3 great?
Erhalte neue Befehle, Kapitän. Die Übertragung beginnt jetzt.
Kapitän, ich habe eine Ortung. Mehrere Schraubengeräusche Richtung 311. Scheint ein Konvoi zu sein.
Alle Maschinen halt. Periskop ausfahren. Da ist er ja. Auf Rotlicht umschalten. Bereit machen zum Auftauchen. Neuer Kurs 015. Wir müssen bis zum Einbruch der Dunkelheit rauchen. Rohr 1 bis 4 feuerbereit machen.
Rohr 1 bis 4 geflutet, Kapitän!
Feuer auf mein Kommando. Rohr 1. Feuer!
First released all the way back in 2005 exclusively for PC as the third entry of the Silent Hunter franchise, Silent Hunter 3 is often considered to be one of the best entries in that particular franchise. And not only that, but it's also considered to be one of the best submarine simulators of all time. It is a truly beloved classic that has stood the test of time. But to understand why this is the case, let's talk about what exactly made it great. And the first thing that I would have to bring up that helped make this particular game great is that it gave you the ability to interact with your crew. This does sound like a weird thing to praise on the surface, but trust me, I am going to be piecing this together with several other things that helped make this game great. But basically, with the crew being present, it helps make the U-boat that you're in feel very much alive. You can see their various reactions to happenings within the submarine, and your ability to directly click on any of your officers and have them issue specific commands makes the game more immersive than it otherwise would be. Speaking of which, I should also give special praise to the voice acting, even if there's not that much in it, because the voice actors did an excellent job in offering various different reads, depending on whether or not the situation is mundane, if they have to whisper in order to evade detection, or if their character is potentially panicked, or alternatively shouting over explosions. All of this helps further immerse the player into the setting. And while it does make the U-boat feel that much more lively, it also, in a way, makes it more claustrophobic. But above all, it makes the player immersed. And speaking of things that help make the player immersed, I feel I need to bring up now the sound design of this game, as another thing that helped make the game great. I say this because the sound design is absolutely spectacular and completely sells you on the idea that you're in a German U-boat in World War II. You will hear the sound of enemy sonar pinging off of your hull. You will also hear enemy ships sailing over you as their propellers whirl through the sea, slowly getting closer and closer and closer. And as you dive deeper and deeper into the dark, deep blue, the sounds of your own U-boat's hull straining and crackling and buckling under the pressure will gnaw at the back of your mind, leaving you to wonder how deep this submarine could truly go before you push it too far. This game truly is a masterclass in sound design for reasons like that, and it does further help the experience become more immersive. And that in and of itself is another thing that helped make the game great. The fact that it is one of the most immersive submarine simulators ever created. If you have ever seen the film Das Boot and wondered if it would be possible to create a video game that is faithful to the feeling feeling of that film, then look no further than Silent Hunter 3 as an example of exactly that. In fact, the game even offers an opportunity that film can't really replicate, in that technically you could actually play the entire game at ×1 speed and not utilize the time compression mechanic if you're crazy enough to actually avoid doing that, in which case you would quite legitimately spend literal weeks of real life time waiting as you slowly sail the high seas. Like I said, this is an option for crazy people, and most ordinary people would simply use the time compression to cut down on the wait in terms of just sailing from point A to point B. But the sheer fact that the game allows that in the first place, that is a level of devotion to authenticity that does deserve respect. Speaking of authenticity, another element of this game that deserves praise is the attention to detail gifted to the various systems of the multiple U-boats you will be utilizing throughout the game. Features like the snorkel system, which allows you to utilize your diesel engines while submerged, albeit while also making it easier for enemies to detect you. Features like the various types of torpedoes that you will be utilizing, each with their own different advantages and disadvantages. Compressed air torpedoes, for example, are faster but leave little bubble trails in their wake, making it possible for enemies to spot them. Oh, and you can also increase the speed of these compressed air torpedoes at the expense of them having shorter range. Later on, you can unlock torpedoes that move in a zigzag pattern after reaching a player set range, allowing you to increase the possibility of that torpedo hitting something if you're attacking a convoy. And there are later still early homing torpedoes using a passive sonar system, enabling you to more easily counter enemy ships actively trying to track you down. Try to make sure though that your torpedo actually hits the enemy ship dead on though, as torpedoes hitting enemy ships at an angle do have the habit of simply glancing off without detonating. And there are tons of little details like this that can have a massive impact on how you do in the game. These are all various things that you have to keep in mind. So that level of authenticity is yet another thing that helped make the game great. But I do believe there is one more piece of the puzzle that I need to bring up now, and that would ultimately be the modding scene. Silent Hunter 3 is yet another case of a game boasting a quite robust modding community that is still active to this very day, with some mods, such as the Grey Wolves mod, being considered more an unofficial expansion pack. Admittedly, you might not necessarily know this if you just travel on Nexus Mods or ModDB, but that's because the modding scene in the case of Silent Hunter 3 is, despite being niche, still robust enough to host its own website. Technically, there are mods for other naval-themed games on subsim.com, but let's be honest, Silent Hunter 3 is by far the main game on that website. So in summary, Silent Hunter 3 is, at the end of the day, a game that revolutionized the subsim genre due to having such an interactive crew, had absolutely stellar sound design that completely sold the illusion of you being on a submarine in World War II, causing the game to be incredibly immersive, as well as being extremely authentic to the subject matter, and on top of all of these things has a modding community that, while niche, is itself independent of the major modding websites, and is actively developing mods for the game to this very day. With all of this in mind, this has been Ace, and I hope you'll agree when I say that Silent Hunter 3 is great.